And we're back. We're live. Hi, my name is Rick Ector, Chief Instructor from Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit. I also run a gun rights advocacy site called Legally Armed in Detroit. Welcome back to our podcast. I am live streaming on 3 channels, 3 social media channels, 3 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, all at the same time. And I must say, I am pretty proud of myself. I took some time, I did some research, and I figured out how to actually do it. And that's pretty much how, rational people do things. They have a situation, they have a problem, a concern, they do research, they figure out a solution, they test it, they implement it, and they run with it. And that's what we're doing. We're running with this social media update. And I want to welcome you all to my live stream. Looking at my guest list, I see I have Jacob Baker. You know, my grandpa, Rick Ector. Well, I'll tell you this. The grade that I have is well-deserved. And yes, there are people walking this very earth, alive and breathing, who justifiably can call me grandpa because, yes, I am their grandpa. And then there's Kevin Hitch. Says, "What's up, Rick?" And I say, "What's up, Kevin?" And then there's Billy Orozco. Technology is wonderful. It definitely is. The things that we can do today that we couldn't do yesterday. And you know what? There's going to come a day and time when we can do stuff later in the future that we can't do today. And here's my man, Von Oliver. He gave me the universal Detroit greeting. He said, "What up, though, Rick?" And if you're from Detroit, you know what up, though mean. You know, it's a universal Detroit greeting. And while we're talking about Detroit, if you look at the calendar, you will see that the date is March 13th, right? And if you were to write it out, on a sheet of paper with a pen, you would use 313. 313 is like the area code for the phone system for the city of Detroit. So in Detroit, we celebrate every March 13th. It's 313 Day. Yes, in the city of Detroit. We also have Barry Brannon. What up, though, Rick? What up, though, Rick? He said it twice. Okay. And then we have Dan Brennan. Hey, Rick. And I'm saying, hey, Dan. And we have John Angelo Grigsby. We can send video and info worldwide from a watch. We definitely can. We definitely can. And this is just part of the universal age that we live in. We live in an age in which a person with a communication device, whether it's a laptop or whether it's a cell phone, I'm sure some of this stuff is going to be integrated into watches and other, wearables / consumables, information, it wants to be free. And if you publish some stuff, it's going to get out there. So what in the world am I doing? Why am I doing a live stream? Well, I will tell you, I've been accused by many people of loving to talk. And I'll tell you, look, I have no qualms about speaking in public. I'll tell you what, there was a moment of angst in which I was looking at this whole social media go live business. And I was thinking, if no one actually showed up when I went live, wouldn't I feel like rather weird and strange, speaking to myself and not before an audience? But you know what? I'll tell you, my people, my friends, my contacts in social media, they don't let me down. But you know what? I don't just jump on social media. I come out here when I have something to say. And what I wanted to talk about today was just give a brief status update as to where we are. When I say we, Rick Ector, Rick's Firearm Academy Detroit, and my gun rights advocacy site, LAID, Legally Armed in Detroit. What are we working on and where are we at with those projects? Of course, my biggest project, as a matter of fact, this is the biggest project I have throughout the year. It's the Legally Armed in Detroit LAID Women's Free Shooting Event. And yes, it is coming up. And yes, we are going into our 9th season of this one-day shooting event. And for people who are unaware as to what this thing is, I'm going to briefly tell you. It is a day in which I leverage my friendships and my contacts and my professional counterparts in the industry, in the shooting industry. And I enlist their aid and support to join me in an effort to do something for public safety and very specifically for women, the protection of women. You know, there was a time approximately 9 years ago when I thought it was a very disturbing event on the news media, and it concerned itself with a woman who was killed and her body was just, laying on the street as if it was trash, and it was some time before it was discovered that it was there. And then the authorities came and they picked up the body and, do what they do, man. And it was an event that had me thinking. It was like, what in the world can someone do to help ameliorate or eliminate or know that something like that is possible in this world? And what can we do? If we can't make the world a better place, let's better empower and protect the people who are in it, knowing the type of people who also exist in this world. And after discussing it with quite a few fellow counterparts in the industry, fellow gun rights activists and instructors, we put together an event. It was a free shooting event for women, and we publicized it throughout social media. And at the end of the day, 9 years ago, we convinced approximately 50 women to come out to the free shooting event. And we felt really good about what we were doing. And I conveyed this information out to people who were motivating me to see this thing through. And lo and behold, 9 years later, our goal in the year 2020, on the date of Sunday, May 17th, our goal is to train 1,000 women how to operate a firearm. We're going to give them a free range safety briefing, and they're going to be one-on-one in a booth at a gun range, and they're going to be operating a firearm. And it's going to be a great event. It's always a great event. And it's my way of giving back to my community, and it's my way of empowering women. So on this date today, it is March 13th, 313 day. I said, well, let me jump online and just give a status update with regards to a couple of things we have going, especially the Women's Project. With training women, I sounded the alarms and I put up the bat signal. And I was looking at resources, and the resources that I was focusing on was how many instructors do I have to work the event? So I went through my general announcements on our special group that we have on Facebook, and I literally parsed through a lot of the information, and I was identifying individuals who had made it known that they had a desire to lend their skills, talents, and expertise to help us with this project. And for right now, or for that exact moment, I was really looking to just focus on actual firearms instructors. So the last few days, I've been going through, combing my lists and contacting people. And as of right now, I have 75 firearms instructors who are committed to working the event. It's a day-long event. We're going to start early in the day, and we're going to go until we train as many women as show up. And if we do everything that we're capable of doing, I'm hoping that that number will at least be equivalent to or greater than 1,000 women at some point in time throughout the day at their appointed time to receive a free range safety briefing and a free shooting lesson in which they're one-on-one with the firearms instructor. And so the last few, days I've been focusing on the manpower with firearms instructors. And right now I have 76 firearms instructors who have committed to being there. I'm still going to need more, but I feel good where I am at this date and time, knowing that I have 76 who have committed at this moment. I still need to solicit more. And if you're a firearms trainer or you're affiliated with a gun rights organization in which there are firearms instructors who are members, by all means, let them know that I'm looking for them. I still have a couple of things that I need to do on my end to do my solicitation for appropriate manpower, that is for firearms trainers. I still have, as of yet, to go through the group I had last year and to comb that group and look at who I talked to about this event who are firearms trainers. And if they are still training and if they are still credentialed, if they're still knowledgeable, and if they still have the desire to join our group, I will most assuredly solicit them to join us. And even though I don't have the numbers of people that I would like to serve as firearms trainers, I feel that I'm making very good progress in terms of where I am. And in the next day or so, I will feel even more confident as I bring more firearms trainers online. So that's where I stand with getting firearms trainers. And if you're a firearms instructor or you know someone who is a firearms instructor, you're in a group that has firearms trainers, by all means, let them know, hey, Rick is looking for people like you to assist in this great and worthy project. And that project, of course, is going to happen on Sunday, May 17th. That's exactly 1 week after Mother's Day. And of course, we all know that Mother's Day is going to be on Sunday, May 10th. Sunday, May 10th, coinciding with Mother's Day, is also going to be the day that registration will open up for women in the general public to sign up for the free training. And as the word of the training is getting out, I'm being contacted by people. And, I've gone, I did the go live thing quite a few times. And, I realize a lot of people, we have busy lives and, excuse me, and people aren't desiring to see a recording and just jump on and listen to the recording, get all the information that I published. I realize that. And as the information is developed, I'm going to publish it. And hopefully, if I continue to do this on a continuous and regular basis, we will get the word out. See, Dan Brennan goes, "You talk a lot." Ha, nah. I am a public speaker. I am a firearms instructor. I am not what you would consider a shy person. I'm not going to say that I love to talk, but I don't have any qualms or apprehensions about speaking, especially if what I'm speaking about is important. Tony Matthews, he tells me, "Big respect, Rick." And I say, "Thank you very much." Glenn Lucas, "A few months after training with you, Rick, my firearm skills saved my life." Well, hey, I am glad to hear that. I mean, that's what firearms instructors do. They increase your knowledge, your skills, your expertise in an effort to give you some information and some training that can empower yourself, protect yourself, save and protect your family and your household. And that's what firearms instructors do. In a nutshell, that is what we do. And it's what I do. And if you know anything about me and my personal story, you know that I was a violent crime victim. Well, at this point, it was several years ago. And that was when I decided to go get trained and to get my concealed pistol license and to go armed in what they consider so-called polite society. Well, I'll tell you, the society might be polite, but there's some knuckleheads, criminals, jackers, and armed robbers and thugs out there who aren't. And they are the reason why many people take it upon themselves to take on a more active role in their personal protection and to carry a firearm. And I'll tell you what, I actually carry a gun every day, and I make no qualms about it. If there aren't any problems, there won't be any problems. Just keep it moving, and that is my motto when I'm out of the house. Moving on with respect to the agenda, we talked about instructors. Okay, now the actual event. Instructors are a resource that I've been focusing on. But there are some other resources that I have only recently started to focus on. And these are some additional items that I have identified in today's political climate. That's how I'll phrase it. In our political climate right now, in my personal opinion, there are some people who are operating in a spirit of fear. And I refuse to succumb to a spirit of fear, especially if it is not justified. And I'm going to live my life and continue doing my things. And as of right now, despite things that people are doing in greater society, they're at this point, based on the information that we have as of this moment, I think they're engaging in panic and they're canceling a bunch of things. A lot of places have closed and canceled, and they're not going forward, and they're just going to put everything on hold. Well, no, I have not put anything on hold. This event is on, Sunday, May 17th. It's far out. We still have some things to go through and watch things unfold and watch things developed. And I have not seen anything as of this moment to justify me not doing this free shooting event this year or at any other time than the time we have currently identified as being Sunday, May 17th. Now, with all the hysteria and the tomfoolery that people are engaging in, I said, well, look, go ahead and make some common sense changes to the way of doing business based on what we know now. And I've identified some things that, given the environment we're operating in, that I should provide. And it's a change and it's a departure from the way we have done business before in the past. But hey, if I need to get some things, some items, in addition to what we've done in the past, then fine. We'll make arrangements to do that. And some of the things that I have identified have been to go with individual safety glasses for the shooting event, have more sanitary cleansing materials and wipes and cleaning supplies and gloves and disposable earplugs and more hearing protection, for people to actually wear. And so things will be a little more individualized with regards to personal protection equipment. But you know what? If this is what we need to do in this current environment in which we're operating to become more, accommodating to the environment in which we're doing, then fine. These are things that we will do. When we look at greater society, I was looking at information from the Red Cross, and the Red Cross said basically three things. Clean up your house, become sanitary around your house, wash your hands, keep your hands clean. And if you're going to sneeze and cough, cover your mouth, get some napkins or other particular supplies like napkins or paper towel and cover your mouth and keep your hands away from people and keep your hands clean. That's from the experts. And this is the time and this is the environment in which the experts should be consulted. So anyway, taking a look at the current environment and understanding where we are, looking at some of the common sense provisions that I should make available to the shooting event. That's going to be some additional, supply, some additional things that we're going to need. Some things that I had not budgeted for as I was making the plans for this year's shooting event. And so essentially what I've done is I've reached out to the greater social media community, to the greater gun rights community, and I put together a GoFundMe page to let folks know that I've identified some things that I believe we should have, just, common sense kind of things, and I've already ran through those. And I put together a GoFundMe page, and it's under my name, Rick, R-I-C-K, last name Ector. If you believe in this event and you believe in what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish, that is empowering women during this day and age in which there are individuals who have no qualms or concerns about being threats to their safety. And all you really have to do is look at the crime stats and see that we're bearing that out. Looking at the social media, we got Trevor Floyd. He said, "What's up, buddy?" And I'm saying, "What's up, Trevor?" Got Glenn Lucas. An armed society is a polite society. And I believe that. He also got some concurrence from Trevor. Trevor talking to Glenn, telling Glenn that he's correct. Glenn says, "Please notify me when you're offering instructor training classes." And yeah, that's a different topic, but it has been on my mind. And just for right now, to let everyone know, I will be offering firearms instructor training classes. And I'm going to be making an announcement about that fairly soon. It's just that in the scheme of things, I have like some general information I wanted to communicate. And that announcement, or shall I say that information about being a National Rifle Association credentialed firearms instructor, that information is on my list. And do know that I will be publicizing some information about training. So if there's anyone out there who has a desire to acquire the training, the credentials to be a firearms instructor as recognized through the National Rifle Association, I am a training counselor, and I'm telling you, I am your guy. Who else is checked in? Christy Bass. She goes, "Hey, Rick." And I'm saying, "Hey, Christy." Okay. Going back to my agenda, things that we're talking about. The last thing I was talking about before I greeted this new wave of visitors to our live stream conversation and discussion, we were talking about the equipment and supplies that we're going to need to do this. I have created a GoFundMe page, and for those of you who like my activities, who buy into what I'm doing, empowering women and giving them the training that they need in this day and age in which there are bad guys who have no qualms whatsoever about violating people. The story that got me started on this annual event, the woman whose body was, discarded on the street as if it's trash. That was the genesis of this actual very event. And we're all in, and we're still proceeding forward. And just for the record, Rick isn't being stubborn. Rick's just being practical. There has been nothing at this time in this day and age, despite what other folks are doing, to make any changes scheduling wise with regards to this event. We are proceeding forward, and unless something significant and drastically occurs, we are doing this event on Sunday, May 17th. We're all in and we're proceeding forward. Of course, if something extraordinary happened, we of course would make the appropriate changes, but nothing has happened as of yet to do that. And we are proceeding forward for conducting our event on Sunday, May 17th. I do need your support. We talked about firearms trainers. I'm still looking for more trainers. And if you wish to financially support this event, by all means, look me up, Rick Ector, Rick, R-I-C-K, last name E-C-T-O-R. I have a fundraiser that's set up on GoFundMe, and I am eagerly anticipating your support. Also, with regards to this event, a couple of announcements. Last year at our women's free training event, of course, we had a VIP in the house. We had Mr. Erich Pratt from Gun Owners of America who came in and made quite the splash. He's a great guy. I've had the honor and privilege of knowing Erich for a number of years. As a matter of fact, going back almost 10 years ago when I first met him, back when his dad was running the GOA. His dad had committed to coming to one of the events that I was doing here in Metro Detroit, and his dad couldn't make it, and he sent Erich in his place. And that's how I met Erich, and that's how our friendship started. He's a great guy. He's looking to, as of now, looking to be in the house. Last year, he gave out these most amazing, beautiful caps, baseball caps. And of course, since it's a women's event, they were, regular pink, hot pink, and white caps with the GOA logo. And I'm looking forward to having Erich Pratt in the house. Also, some information I got yesterday. Another person in the gun rights community you probably have heard of. Just yesterday, my man, Maj Toure, said he's going to be in the house. So, if you know anything about Maj, he runs his own gun rights advocacy site. Of course, Maj is from Philly. His group, Black Guns Matter. Black Guns Matter is going to be in the house. And, there are some people who might not be really intimately familiar with the gun rights community, but the last handful of years, about 5-6 years, Maj has been making, a great name for himself in this space. And I've checked out Maj on his turf. Me and my honey, we went to a couple of his events. I think the first event we went to of his that he did was actually in Chicago, maybe 4 years ago or whatever. We drove up to Chicago, and I had an opportunity to hang out with Maj. And actually, I got a chance to be part of the actual program. I actually got a chance to get in front of the crowd that was there and actually start teaching some basic fundamental firearm safety. I'm a firearms trainer. I don't have a shy bone in my body. So, hey, I went up to the class and I did the presentation, or at least finished it. And also had, every time I go out to a major gun rights conference, Maj is there. We're going to talk and we're going to kick it for a minute. And what else was I going to say? Escaped me what happened. I'm sure if it's important, it'll come back. But Maj is a great guy, and I'm glad that he made the announcement that he's going to be in the house. He will be warmly received. And this event is shaping up to be the must-attend event in the gun rights community. And it's going to happen here in Metro Detroit in Taylor, Michigan. And we're going to do some great things, and we're going to have some great people, and we are going to make it happen. The one other thing that I wanted to do was to also open up the forum for anyone that's watching in real time. I don't really want this to necessarily be a one-way, flow of information. If you guys have some information you want to communicate to me, or you want me to broadcast it out to the gun rights community who are either watching live or who will be checking out this broadcast after it's posted to social media, by all means, what do you have to say? Ask your question, and we'll get it answered on the live stream, and people can get it live, or they can catch it over on YouTube. But this has been, a great, great opportunity. Looking at Pat. Pat says, location, date, and time, please. And I am assuming that this is an inquiry with regards to the women's event. The women's event will be on Sunday, May 17th. There will be approximately 5 time periods for people to sign up online. You will need to sign up online before the date of the event. And the second time, I'm going to say it again, the date of the event, of the free women's shooting event, it is going to be on Sunday, May 17th, directly a week, 7 days after Mother's Day this year. There's one additional piece to that. Registration is going to be required. Registration for the events will not open until Mother's Day. Mother's Day is when registration opens. And I know some of you are thinking, well, gee, Rick, you're announcing the event. You're actively promoting the event. Why not open registration now? I'm not opening registration now because as I look at the calendar, we know that it's Detroit Day. It's 313 Day. It is March 13th. March 13th is a very, very long way from today. I mean, it is more than a month away. And as we opened up this whole communication, a whole lot can happen in a month. And by the event being a month away, I did not want to open registration at this early of a date and then have people, take up a spot in the event, and that spot will be, taken away and no one else will be able to register. Excuse me. No one else will be able to register. And then that person, a month and a half out, they no show. And you know what? It's just a registration organization nightmare. So what we're going to do is registration for the event is going to open up on Sunday, Mother's Day, May 10th. When you wake up that day, when you get on your phone or when you get on your laptop or however you communicate, over the internet, you're going to go to the designated URL, and that information will be published in the event page. And I'll tell you, if you sign up at least within the first several days, either on Mother's Day or going forward on Mother's Day, you will be accommodated. One of the things that I always caution people about registering, because we're going to have multiple time slots which are going to be available, I caution people against taking up a time slot and then wanting to change it later. If you sign up for a time slot, that's the time slot I want you to be signed up for, and that's the time slot I want you to attend. I do not have the manpower and the time to have people register for an event for a specific time and then wants to make a change or make multiple changes. Nope, I can't do it. And I just can't. So when I publish the event and I publish the different time slots, if you're trying to coordinate your attendance with other friends and other family members, let me tell you, there'll be plenty of time to coordinate your schedules and to sign up at the time at the URL that'll be published on Mother's Day for you all to be accommodated at that time. Otherwise, it can just become a management nightmare. And while I don't have another question, let me go ahead and repeat some of the things that I talked about before. I'm doing a fundraiser right now, and this fundraiser is to accommodate, the needs, the additional needs that we're going to need to run this women's event in the times and in the spirit in which we're in. I've identified some additional things to make people feel more comfortable at the event. And these things are things that we haven't had before. But, we're talking about continuous improvement with the times. We're talking about individual safety glasses. We're talking about sanitary cleansing wipes. We're talking about gloves. We're talking about earplugs. We're talking about hearing protection. And when you do the math and you multiply it by, 1,000 women that we're going to attend this event. And of course, we're going to have people who are working the event, not only firearms instructors, but the range safety officers and some general support staff. It's going to consume a lot of resources. And if we want to do this event and we want to do it right, and we want people to feel comfortable about their attendance and making sure that they have everything that they need to be comfortable, then you know what? We've made changes into the things that we're going to supply. But since it's a little down the road from when we initially planned this event this year, I'm going to be incurring some expenses. And these expenses I'm asking for the general public, people in the gun rights community who believe in this event, who believe that women should be given an opportunity to afford themselves of this free training that we're offering. We're offering a free range safety briefing. And in addition to that, you will have a free shooting lesson. Each woman will be one-on-one with the firearms instructor. Each person attending the event will be given, let me tell you, this beautiful, attractive Gun Owners of America cap. We also have some additional supplies. Everyone will be giving a gun lock, for their guns, and for guns that you lock up and not necessarily guns that you're actively using. And what I mean by that, I have a gun. I'm not going to show it to you, but it's close to me because I always keep a gun close to me. That gun is loaded, even though I'm at home. Well, gee, Rick, why in the world do you have a gun right next to you loaded? Because I live in Detroit and someone might want to pay me an unscheduled visit, and I want to give them the appropriate greeting if they come into my house unannounced and uninvited. But enough of that. We talked about some of the additional supplies and training, that additional supplies that I'm going to need for this event. And so I'm doing a fundraiser. If you believe in this event and you want to help us be successful, even considering I call it the extraordinary times in which we're undergoing through now, there's a few things that I'm going to need. And to get those things, I have a fundraiser. And I have a fundraiser set up over at GoFundMe. And people have heard of GoFundMe.com. I, Rick Ector, have started a GoFundMe account. And I've identified 3 different levels of support that I'm looking for this event. The first level of support is to give me the things that I'm going to need that I did not have in prior years, because we're going through some extraordinary times, shall we call it, right now. And it's just a management issue. It's a supply issue. It's appropriately equip your people and the attendees of the event with what they need to make sure that we get the job done on the level in which we need to do it. And to do it, I'm going to need some additional supplies that I do not have right now. And so I'm enlisting the public support. I need some additional things, and those things, unfortunately, have costs associated with them. And I'm asking for you to partner with me to make a donation to the organization. And I want to, not let it go without, mention. I've already had a few donations come through, and I definitely appreciate those donations that have happened, that have occurred. It's not everything that I need, but I'm going to continue to need more. And as I continue to have a need, I am not going to be shy about asking for it. If you all believe in this event and you believe that it is worthwhile and that in this day and age that women need to be protected and that they need to be empowered and that they should be appropriately trained so that they can assume and take on a more involved role in their personal protection, then you buy into this event. And if you buy into this event, I'm merely asking you to financially make a donation to our group and to our organization so that we can accommodate them with the additional things that we're going to need. You know, I think some people in some places are losing their singular and collective minds in the absence of any justifiable, causes. But hey, people are going to do what they do until we receive some information that rises to the level of making a change. We are still proceeding. We're still moving forward and we're still having this event. Training women to be safe and involved in their safety is still relevant and it is still necessary and it is still required. So I am still running this fundraiser because we're still proceeding forward. Our event will be held a week after Mother's Day, May 17th. Registration for that event, as I already talked about before, it is on May 10th. If you come to the published webpage on May 10th, May 11th, May 12th, May 13th, you will have a slot. I will tell you this, based on the fact that my goal is to train 1,000 women, I'm going to step up my game with regards to marketing and promotion of this event. I'm going to be in more places, on more forums, on more shows, on more podcasts, on more radio interviews. And if I'm lucky, more TV appearances. I'm going to have more media contact than I've ever had before because the results that I want are going to be higher and bigger than they have ever been before. My goal is to train and empower 1,000 women on a range safety briefing and with a free shooting lesson. And the only way that's going to happen is if I step up my game. And you know what? I'm committed and I'm involved and I am ready to make that happen. Whatever I need to do to get the word out, that's going to happen. And yes, I need your support. I need you to help publicize this event. We have an event page for this event, and I have it, distributed, in my Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit page on Facebook, and I also have it publicized on my second profile, my other page on. I have a Rick's a Rick Ector page too on Facebook. So I'm all over the place. I'm all over social media. I'm on Twitter. You guys know my handle on Twitter is Detroit CCW. I'm on YouTube. I am on YouTube. I'm Detroit CCW. On LinkedIn, I am Rick Ector, RICKECTOR. And this event is important, and I'm committed, and we are going to make this happen. We're undergoing, shall we say, some interesting times, but these interesting times, nothing has come forward to cause us to make any changes. So we're going all steams ahead. We are proceeding, and I need your support. I appreciate you all for being, supporters of this event and what we're doing. And if you wish to help us out, by all means, go to GoFundMe. And it's real easy to find me because my name, my name. My name is Rick, RICK, last name Rick Ector. Give your support, financial support, because we need it, because during these extraordinary times, there's some, extraordinary things we need to do. And to do that, we have some necessary expenditures that weren't necessarily budgeted for. But I feel very confident that I can come to the greater gun rights community and explain the situation to enlist your support. And I'll tell you, I've never done, I guess, the equivalent of a telethon before. I've ever gone on any type of forum and did any fundraising. And you know what? The thing that I've discovered about fundraising is that if you have a worthy cause, and if there are people out there who believe in you and they believe in what you're doing, they will support you. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you an opportunity to partner with me and to support me and to enlist your assistance. And there's no greater way to assist me by actually running the event. And if you are a firearms instructor and a firearms trainer, I want you to be at the event using your firearms skills to actually train people. If you are qualified, if you are trained, you have the credentials, by all means, I can use you as a firearms instructor. If you have the appropriate credentials and training and experience with being a range safety officer, I'm looking for you to assist as a range safety officer. We also have, some spots available for general support. I have a number of people that I have already identified to assist us with that. If you can't be at the event, and here's the other part about can't be at the event or can't work the event. I've had friends across the internet that I've met in person from across the country. There's one guy out of Chicago area. He's going to be joining us. He worked the event last year, so he's going to be driving up from Chicago to be a firearms instructor at this event. I have another friend. We met several years ago. He actually came to Detroit recently within the last couple of months. He had to make a run to Detroit, and he called me up, and we went out and had breakfast. And he's going to make a trip back to Detroit for this ladies' event. He's a firearms instructor, and he's going to be volunteering at the event. So first and foremost, if you are a trainer or a range safety officer, I need your actual time and expertise in the building. If by all means you believe in this event, you believe in what we're doing, you can't make it to be into the house, you're not a trainer, you're not a range safety officer, but you want to participate, financially support us. And that can be done fairly easily. GoFundMe is a place where you can go find me, Rick Ector, RICKECTOR, and find my fundraiser and make a financial contribution to what we're doing. But big announcement today. Maj Toure is going to be in the house. And if you're familiar with Black Guns Matter and you consider yourself to be a fan of Maj, you don't want to miss this event, especially if you have a connection with regards to the training. This isn't a thing where just anybody can come. To be a participant, you need to be a woman who's involved with, or shall I say, wants to take on a more involved role with her personal protection, and she's going to need to register for the event. If you're a firearms trainer, sign up to actually work the event as a firearms trainer. And of course, if you're a member of the news media and you want to come out on that day and you want to show everyone the great job that we're doing, the great commitment, investment that we're making into our own community, that we're investing these skills and these talents and expertise, to interested women who have a desire to take on a more active role in their personal protection, by all means, come out and help document what we're doing. But yeah, we're going to have Maj Toure in the house. We're also going to have Erich Pratt in the house from, from Gun Owners of America is going to be in the house. So yeah, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great event. Before I check out of here, are there any other questions with regards to the event? I have a huge list of frequently asked questions just about firearms in general, but I don't really want to, make this go live event today bigger than it necessarily has to be. If there are people out there that have something that they want me to address, or they have a general question as it relates to firearm safety, or this women's event that we're doing to empower and training women, by all means, voice it now. I'm waiting for a few people to figure out if they have a question for me. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. If anyone that knows me knows I love coffee. Okay, well, don't have any additional questions. I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be that guy that just have people online and we're not actually, you know, having a discussion germane to the topic at hand. But what I do want, in closing, remind you all, if you buy into this program, make a contribution over at GoFundMe for the women's training event. Find me as Rick Ector. And also, publicize this event. I'm going to post it. And when you see the links, help me publicize and post the links in social media. And you also work to help me get the word out about this great event that we're doing for the empowering and training of women. Having said that, I want to thank you for your time this evening, and you all have a great day. Take care. God bless.